What's up guys, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and we've got a very special triple unboxing for you guys today. Here we have the HONOR 20 Pro, the regular HONOR 20, as well as the HONOR 20 Lite. Big thanks to HONOR for getting me these devices early and partnering with me for this video. I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised to see what you get for the price on these devices. They are very, very competitively priced. Let's get straight to the unboxing. So the first device we're going to take a look at is the HONOR 20 Pro. This is the flagship device and it's going to be coming in at £550. So as well as the device itself, you do get a SIM card ejector tool, you get a USB Type-A to USB Type-C cable, a USB Type-C to 3.5mm converter, and then we've got HONOR's 22.5 watt supercharger. This is going to be able to top up your HONOR 20 Pro 50% in just 30 minutes. And that's really impressive considering the fact that the HONOR 20 Pro has a 4000 mAh battery, which will keep you going all day long. Right, now let's get to the HONOR 20 Pro. Plastic off. And it also comes with a pre-applied screen protector, so we can take the top layer off carefully so we don't remove the fresh, nicely applied screen protector. Definitely a nice touch. Now I have the Phantom Blue version here. There is also a Phantom Black version, and the build is very, very premium. We've got a metal frame with curved glass at the back. Now you'll notice this very unique design here at the back. This is what HONOR call a dynamic holographic design. Now they've achieved this with a new depth layer, which is made up of individual prisms. So when the light bounces off it, you get a very unique layer of immersion. Now you'll also notice that we've got a quad camera setup here at the back. Now let me talk you through all of these. So firstly, we've got a 48 megapixel primary camera with an f1.4 aperture. That is the widest aperture that I've ever seen on a smartphone, and it's a 1/2 inch sensor. Now with this hardware, along with HONOR's Super Night mode, you should get some great low light images. This has optical image stabilization, electronic image stabilization, as well as artificial image stabilization, which combines everything. And there's an AI ultra clarity mode. This takes and combines multiple exposures, aiming to give you more crisp, high-res images. So that's the primary camera. We then have a 16 megapixel super ultra wide camera that has an f2.2 aperture, and it's got a 117 degree angle of view. It's also supported by distortion correction, so usually when you do go that wide, there is some lens distortion. Well, the HONOR 20 Pro is going to correct that lens distortion using software. Then we have an 8 megapixel telephoto camera with optical image stabilization. This is going to give you 3 times optical zoom, 5 times hybrid zoom, and up to 30 times digital zoom. The hybrid zoom is super effective. It uses both the optical and digital zoom to get you really close into your subjects. But it doesn't stop there, because we have a 4th camera that is a 2 megapixel macro camera with an f2.4 aperture. Macro cameras will let you get in much closer to your subject, so if you want to really pick out the details on things, you can do that with the HONOR 20 Pro. This is something that you can't do with normal cameras because they don't have that minimum focusing distance. So that's a very interesting quad camera setup. If there is a SuperSaf style camera comparison you'd like me to do of the HONOR 20 Pro versus something else, then definitely let me know in the comments below. Now let's have a look at the front. You'll notice straight away that we've got minimal bezels and we've got almost a 92% screen to body ratio. This is a 6.26 inch Full HD Plus IPS panel, and then we've got a small punch out here at the top for the front facing camera. The front facing camera is 32 megapixels with an f2.0 aperture. And what is powering the HONOR 20 Pro? Well, we do have the 7nm Kirin 980 chipset, along with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. So that's the base. That's what you're getting at £550. And I think you have to agree with me that that is very, very impressive. Usually you get lower RAM and lower base storage for the base model, and then you have to pay more. With this, straight away, $550, you're getting 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. Now, if you take a look around the device, on the right-hand side, we've got a volume rocker, and then we've got a power button, which doubles up as a fingerprint sensor. So just look at that. So I'm gonna switch this off with another finger and try to unlock it. You can see that it is actually locked, right? But then I just touch my thumb on there. Super, super fast. On the left-hand side, there's a SIM card tray. On the top, we actually have an IR blaster. This is something we see very little of these days. At the bottom, there is a USB Type-C input, and there is the bottom firing speaker. For software, we've got Magic UI that sits on top of Android Pie, and that is the HONOR 20 Pro. I gotta say, for £550, this is very, very impressive. Definitely let me know in the comments below what you think of the HONOR 20 Pro. Now let's have a look at the regular HONOR 20 and we'll compare it to the HONOR 20 Pro. Now the HONOR 20 comes in even cheaper. This is going to be retailing at £400. So that's £150 cheaper compared to the HONOR 20 Pro, and you're still getting a lot of its features. So very similar stuff inside the box, including the HONOR 22.5 watt supercharger, which is awesome. And getting to the device, you'll see that it looks very, very similar to the HONOR 20 Pro. This also comes with a pre-applied screen protector, which is great. So we'll get rid of the outer screen protector. And you're not missing out on the display because we've still got a 6.26 inch all-view display, minimal bezels, a very high screen to body ratio, including that 32 megapixel front-facing punch-out camera. Just quickly bringing in the HONOR 20 Pro, you'll notice that they look pretty much identical from the front. And at the back, we still have that very unique looking dynamic holographic design, although we've got 2.5D glass on the HONOR 20, whereas we've got 3D glass on the HONOR 20 Pro. So the curves are a little bit more smoother here on the HONOR 20 Pro. Now, what about the cameras? Well, you've still got a quad camera setup here on the HONOR 20. The primary camera is very similar to what we've got on the HONOR 20 Pro. It's 48 megapixels, but it's got an f1.8 aperture compared to the f1.4 aperture on the HONOR 20 Pro. Then we have the 16 megapixel super ultra wide camera with an f2.2 aperture. We also have the 2 megapixel macro camera with an f2.4 aperture, but we do miss out on the telephoto camera. So we've not got optical zoom here on the regular HONOR 20. Instead, the fourth camera here on the HONOR 20 is a 2 megapixel depth assist camera, which is going to help with your portrait shots. We still have the Kirin 980 chipset, which is very impressive at this £400 price point. Then we've got 6 GB of RAM with 128 GB of storage, once again with Magic UI on top of Android Pie. You still have the side-mounted fingerprint scanner as well as the IR blaster and a 3750 mAh battery, which is still very, very large. And you're getting all of this package in for £400, which is very, very competitive. I'm not sure which other device at this price point you'll be able to get with all of these features. Now finally, let's take a look at the HONOR 20 Lite. This retails for £250. So we're talking super budget, and you're still getting a very good package for this price point. Now inside this box, we have a SIM card ejector tool, a USB Type A to micro USB cable. So the HONOR 20 Lite does have micro USB, and then we have a regular charger. Now let's get to the device. So we'll remove the plastic. And you'll see that we've still got a very striking gradient design on here. However, this is plastic and not glass. There's a back-mounted fingerprint scanner, and we've got a triple rear-facing camera setup. There's a 24 megapixel primary camera with an f1.8 aperture, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera with an f2.4 aperture, as well as a 2 megapixel depth assist camera. Now if we move over into the front, you'll see that we've still got a very high screen to body ratio with a dewdrop notch. This is a 6.21 inch display with a full HD plus resolution. That's very impressive at this price point. The front-facing camera is still 32 megapixels with an f2.0 aperture. And the HONOR 20 Lite is powered by the Kirin 710F chipset with 4 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. But you do have a micro SD card slot, so you can expand that storage. And you've got a 3400 mAh battery. Now, all of that, as mentioned, is coming in at £250, which is very, very competitive. So essentially, you could buy the HONOR 20 Lite as well as the HONOR 20 or the HONOR 20 Pro, and you'll still be saving money compared to some of the flagship devices out there. And I gotta say, that's very, very impressive. What you're getting for your money might just make these some of the best bang for buck devices that you can buy right now. If you want to buy one of these HONOR 20 series devices, there will be some links in the description below. What do you guys think of the HONOR 20 series? Definitely let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video, found it useful. If you did, then do hit that thumbs up button for me. And if you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any further coverage. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.